Welcome to Podcast, the Business of Dentistry podcast, brought to you by Practice Plan. Podcast delivers the best business advice, real-life stories, and practical hints and tips to make your practice a more profitable and sustainable business. And now, here's your host.
Hello and welcome to Podcast. My name's Hazel Dockery from Practice Plan, and with me today is Gemma Starkey, and we're going to be talking about LinkedIn as part of our short series on social media. So for those who haven't met you before, Gemma, please just explain who you are and tell us a bit more about yourself.
Hi Hazel, thanks for having me back on. I'm excited to share my knowledge of all things social media. So I help dental practices to manage their social media accounts, everything from creating strategy to getting that content and having it scheduled and managed. I did start life off as a dental nurse, which has been fantastic to kind of apply my skills because I have insider knowledge.
Brilliant, that's great. So we've already talked once about Facebook. We decided that we would be talking today about LinkedIn, and really, I suppose most people think about LinkedIn as a sort of a business platform and a way of getting a new job, actually. So why should people be using LinkedIn?
So LinkedIn is fundamentally one of the biggest tools that people find to recruit new people, or if they are, of course, looking for a job, to search onto LinkedIn. So it's always good to have an up-to-date profile if you are in that area.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn does have other uses, of course, in terms of business. And sometimes people don't think of LinkedIn as a social media site, where in fact it is it is the oldest social media site. It's older than Facebook.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, LinkedIn has been around since 2002, and Facebook didn't come on the scene until a couple of years later.
Oh.
So it is well established now. The great thing is that LinkedIn is still as popular today as it ever was, and it's a site that mainly attracts, of course, professionals. And there's two ways that dental practices and dentists can be using LinkedIn that
Yeah.
sometimes they can overlook. So, of course, first of all, as a dentist, they can be on there and sharing their knowledge and kind of creating their profile. And as a dental practice, you can also have a dental practice page
Mm.
where you are then your profile is linked to your dental practices page. Now, that's really good for getting news out there. And dental practices can benefit from being on LinkedIn, particularly if they're in a city location.
Yeah.
So I had this where I worked at a practice that was in London, and the practice that I worked for had 3 dental practices, and they were located within big businesses. So they were located 2 within a law firms and 1 within a banking. Now, lots of the people there may not be on Instagram and they may not be on Facebook, but they will certainly be on LinkedIn.
Mm.
And so it's good that if you are in that area, that of course that you can be posting and reaching people on the platforms that they spend time on,
Mm.
which of course is the big benefit of social media marketing, to kind of reach out into these communities of people that are likely to come to your practice. And by doing that, you can stand out.
Mm. Now, you said a good thing to do about Facebook was to follow other accounts and things like that, and the same with Instagram is follow influencers and things like that. How do you go about building a presence on LinkedIn?
One of the best ways that I've seen is by dentists that have linked to their practice profile and kind of engaging and sharing information. And of course, LinkedIn is fantastic for recommending people that you've got and connections in common. And
Mm.
of course, you can go out then and look at businesses that you would like to sort of target in a way.
Mm.
So, for example, the dental practice that was in the law firm, we can go and follow that law firm. We can then see the law firm's employees. So it
Yeah.
gives us a link and a connection to help to target the people that are likely to become patients.
So in a way, I suppose it's slightly easier than Facebook because you've actually, you can target on a particular thing, can't you? Like where they work.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, Facebook, when it first started, was fantastic because you could go out and reach people, but
Mm.
then it stopped that people had to discover you. On Instagram, we are able to go out and target people, and that's one of the ways that I grow our followings by going much like LinkedIn and follow local businesses of patients and people that are likely to come to our practice. It's a really valuable tool. And yeah, you've got that opportunity on LinkedIn.
Mm. I mean, a practice plan, because we've managed to get above 150 followers on LinkedIn, because I think it felt to us like it was harder to get followers on LinkedIn than it was on other platforms. But because we've got that, we've got newsletters as well. Is that the sort of thing that would benefit a dental practice?
I think the more platforms you have that you can reach potential patients, the better. And of course, it also, the more times that you reach out and provide valuable information or they see you, it strengthens that bond, not just for new patients, but existing patients too. And what you've mentioned there, Hazel, is really good because people don't often understand that by increasing their number of followers on a platform, that actually you become more of an authority then on that platform and you've earned the platform's trust, so they will open up new things to you.
Yeah. I mean, we use it for publicizing any of our blogs or articles or anything like that. If a practice got to that stage, if they got to be able to produce newsletters, what sort of things do you think they should be doing then?
Yeah, so they can be sharing content on sort of what is happening at the practice, but they can also be sharing more professional content that might not be suitable for, say, Instagram, maybe of courses that they've been on, new things that they've learned. That more professional aspect of it, is perfect on LinkedIn for sharing. Um,
Mm,
and much like I've suggested before, if you think that LinkedIn will benefit you, much like the other social media platforms, you want to be posting consistently. And one
yeah.
of the best ways to do that is by creating an annual events calendar of different things that are going on that you would like to be posting about. For example, it's Mouth Cancer Action Month right now. So you can
Mm.
be posting charity things on there or actually courses that you've been on and how you're screening. There's lots of different medias that you can be sharing.
Yeah. So sharing, so actually targeting certain like I always repost things from other people. Is that a good idea as well? Reposting things from authority figures as well. Does that sort of align you with them, or does that show people what you're interested in?
Yeah, I think that it does. And in marketing, we have this thing that to sort of step on the back of giants. So you might just be a small person, but actually, if you are there and have some sort of affiliation or you're resharing Coca-Cola, you're stepping on the back of giants. Not that dentists should be sharing anything, but um, apart from maybe, do you remember Ronaldo? Ronaldo, I think he was paid to have like a can of Coke or an energy drink
Yes.
on a news thing, and he was like, no, and he took that off and he put his bottle of water.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, yeah, good lad.
Not sure what that did for sponsorship, but there's definitely a win for dentistry.
But I mean, in a way, it's still got the publicity, isn't it? Because everybody was talking about Coke. So,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
that bad a move.
What did they say? No press is negative press, something
Yeah,
like that,
quite.
wasn't it?
Yeah, there's no such thing
Yeah.
as bad press. Yeah.
Yeah, no such thing as bad press. So yeah, so resharing that can definitely be part of your strategy that you apply onto LinkedIn. And when we're all so busy, you know, there is only a limited amount of time that you have to be able to manage these things. So of course, resharing that is good, but that should be done alongside you sharing your own original content too.
Yeah, now with Facebook you and Instagram, you were recognized, you were recommending, I think, was it 2 to 3 times a week, 2 to 3
Yeah.
posts a week? You wouldn't do the same with LinkedIn, would you?
I think the key is to be consistent, be
Mm.
realistic about how often that you can post on there, and and stick with that. And just think outside the box of the content that you can share. So, like you've mentioned, the resharing post. It can also be things when you've got a new blog on your website. That's a nice, easy reshare. And of course, you've had the effort gone into creating the blog. You might as well try and get it out there on as many platforms as possible. So
Mm.
that content, the newsletters that you mentioned, that's another content. So actually, if you have a calendar and you can see, okay, we have this blog, we have this newsletter, it soon builds up that then you can start to understand, okay, how many posts can I regularly commit to sharing?
Yeah, and is this the some sort of thing that you would do for a company as well if they asked you to? Is this all part of your service?
Yeah, so I have done that before for a practice that was within the city.
Mm.
Uh, but of course, I can recommend what I think is best for a dental practice, but the biggest sites are Facebook and Instagram still for most dental practices. So committing to what that you can manage, but it's always good to still go on to LinkedIn and to claim your dental business and to create that page and those links.
So what I'm hearing from you is LinkedIn, don't discount it, but you really shouldn't prioritize it over your bread and butter Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. Apart from if you are a city practice, then I think you really need to take a step back and say, actually, would this be valuable for us to incorporate? And of course, with a lot of these things, it can be experimentation. You never quite know how something is going to work until you give it a try.
Mm.
Um, and some things can really surprise you. I had a small dental practice in a village. Most of their patients were sort of in their 60s, 70s. And actually, one of the top performing social media platforms was Twitter. And I'd
Oh,
never have guessed that in 100 years. But there were so many different local groups that were active on Twitter that made it a great way for us to interact with them. So that was a surprise. So experiment, particularly if you are a city-based practice.
right. Okay then. And don't be scared to have a go then, basically.
Yeah, don't be scared to have a go, and just go through the motions. Most of the platforms are really great now at guiding you along and offering you advice, sort of what the next step is and what you should be posting, and encouraging that journey. So just step in and give it a try.
Brilliant. Great advice. Thank you very much for your time. It's nice to speak to you again, Gemma.
Thanks for having me, Hazel.